In a bid to fortify Nigeria's climate resilience and actualize the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stated administrative commitment to a 20% reduction in greenhouse gas emission within the next 5 years, the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity and the Center for Climate Action, Innovation and Engagement convened a stakeholder workshop to introduce the Climate Action Index initiative. Held in the conference hall of the Federal Ministry of Finance, the workshop aims to establish comprehensive framework for assessing and ranking subnational climate efforts. Daniel Obi has details.
The workshop brought together a diverse array of stakeholders, including policymakers, climate experts, and representatives from government agencies. In his keynote address, the Director General of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, Mr. Dansuki Arabi, while stating that the initiative perfectly aligns with Nigeria's commitment under the Paris Agreement and Climate Change Act of 2021, emphasized that the Climate Action Index will go a long way in providing a framework for measuring the effectiveness of subnational climate efforts, driving accountability, competition, and best practices.
In Nigeria, the nationally determined contributions on climate change has been the platform through which commitments on climate change and adoption towards mitigating the impact of climate change are employed. This includes such commitments as the reduction on greenhouse gas emissions, with an unconditional emission reduction by 20% by the year 2030 and a zero-net emission targeted by the year 2060.
In his goodwill message, the board chairman, Center for Climate Action, Innovation and Engagement, Dr. Abel Owotemu, pointedly stated that climate change is not just an environmental problem, but also an economic one.
As we gather here today to witness history being made by the launch of this Climate Action Index, it's worth noting that climate change is not only an environmental issue. It goes beyond the damage to the environment. It's also a significant economic issue. According to the World Bank, the climate-related investments in emerging markets like Nigeria is expected to hit somewhere above $20 trillion in the next 5 years by 2030.
Speaking to newsmen on the sidelines of the event, the Executive Director, Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity, Dr. Umar Yakubu, spoke on the needed partnership to combat climate change vis-a-vis a quantitative measure of the impact of climate funding.
What we have seen that a lot of money has been released in the last 20 years from ecological funds, environmental funds, monies for tree planting, monies for building water ways. Different measures have been taken. So as you know, our core responsibility is to promote accountability and governance. So we want to bring out an index today to measure the amount of monies that has been released vis-a-vis the commitments we have made to international partners in the global agreement on climate issues and assess how far we have done.
Highlights of the event was the PowerPoint presentation on the Climate Action Index framework by Mr. Aaron John, the Executive Director of the Center for Climate Action, Innovation and Engagement. Daniel Obi, ASO Television News.